Hello everybody. Okay, so Sam's asked me to do this like this kind of video thing for people that are interested in land-based studies or gardening or anything to do with mud and soil and plants really, which is kind of partly what I'm renowned for. So which seems like a fun thing to do. I'm stuck here on my own at Buckham Farm in the middle of a big project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about soil, because that's basically what I'm dealing with at the minute. Plants are a little way off, so I'm going to deal with soil. So I'm going to teach you how to build soil. I don't know about you, when the first lockdown happened, there was a mild panic. Everybody went mad buying toilet rolls. Well, I didn't do that. I went mad digging up my garden and turning it into the good life, into vegetable patches, because in all seriousness, food security really came to the fore. It's not something anybody thinks about until suddenly you're thinking, whoa, where am I going to get my food from? And so I ended up putting dandelion in my salads and all that kind of stuff. It really quickly defaulted into like, whoa, we need to grow our food, which in the West Country we're famous for and we're good at. It's in our genes. It goes back thousands and thousands of years. I don't know if any of you watch the Viking series, but Wessex, my beloved Wessex, as Thomas Hardy would say, was sought after ground, and it wasn't for silver and gold, it was for the soil. It was Europe-wide renowned for its ability to grow prolifically and grow really good food. And that's where most of the wealth of the West Country came from for a very long time, and it's still one of our main sources of income in terms of growing in the West Country. So you should be proud, I am, to carry on this great tradition of building soil and growing stuff. Okay, so that's enough of introduction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to part by part show you a very quick and easy way to turn a patch of lawn or a patch of garden into a vegetable patch without too much work. A bit of work, but not too much work. So if you're interested in that, that's what I'm going to do this week. I'm really open to feedback and questions, and if anybody wants me to cover something that they're interested in, or I'll give you my thoughts on it, or I'd even take it on as a project if it's relative to here or the garden. So this got bowled to me this morning, so I'm just reacting at the minute. I haven't put too much plan and thought into it. I'm just kind of speaking off the hoof, but I'll show you what I'm doing in a minute. Boop. Okay then, so here we go. This is one of the large polytunnels here at Buckham Farm that I've been landscaping. All that under these sheets there is more of these beds that I'm getting to at the minute. These ones are finished and I'm moving on through. So I'm able to give you a step-by-step approach. This is the finished result, okay? The ground that we were looking at and working on is this stuff, and it's very compact. Not been grown in for a very long time. So this is almost like starting at lawn. So it was a little bit harder than lawn really, so I had to use this baby to get some purchase into the soil. But basically, if you might not be able to see from this video, but these beds are raised beds, and they're probably raised up about a good 6 to 8 inches, I think, off of the ground. Okay, this is virgin soil. It has not been grown in for a long time, so I am building the soil here. I'm building functioning live soil. Anybody who wants me to go into a bit more depth of that on that subject, I am more than happy to go into that, because it's a subject that I love, and teach you more about the kind of chemistry and the physics and the biology of the whole of this process. But if you might not be interested in that, you just want to grow some vegetables. So this is what we're going to do. These three are done. This one's just about done, and this one is the starting point. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the broken up ground that I've got. This is what is here, and it ain't brilliant. To be fair, it's very compacted. There's a lot of kind of rubble and stone in here that is needed to be broken out. But what I've done is I've opened up the soil. Okay, I used a pickaxe in the initial stages because it was really compacted. But now, brilliant comedy moment. Yeah, so I've opened it up, ready to receive its first layer. We are going to layer up with various different things, and I'm going to walk you through that process, okay? But if you've got your patch of ground, that's the first thing you need to do, is to mark it out. That's what I've done with these timbers into these beds. You can make it whatever shape you like, however big or however small you like, but basically you need to open up the soil. If this is a domestic situation, I'm pretty sure a fork would suffice. But you need to open up the soil and get it free draining as best as you can and as deep as you can. That's part one. Okay, the first thing I'm going to add is some topsoil or compost to the bed that I just showed you. This is the pile I got. I had about 3 tons of it delivered on a lorry. It's a really mucky job, so I got my tools in a bucket. Top tip, if you get mucky tools, you can wash them off between using them. But this is the first stuff I'm putting down. So you will need, depends how big your plot is, but you're going to need some topsoil, or you could just probably get some bagged up organic, just bog standard compost from Proper Job or one of the cheaper shops, because it's not so much the goodness you're adding, it's just the organic material. Again, I'll explain that another time. But that's the first layer, and I'll show you where it's going. Okay, here's my first wheelbarrow. So that's heading this way, and the first layer is going to. I happen to know that these beds take 3 full wheelbarrows per layer, so I'm going to put 3 wheelbarrows full into this. But all I'm actually going to do is add it to the soil and mix it in, and that will help the aggregates, the lumps of soil, instead of forming back into clay, it'll keep it kind of nice and crumbly, and it'll put some organic material, that's the good stuff in the soil, in the bottom layer, so when the roots reach down here, they've got something of with some nutrients and substance in the soil. One thing I didn't say is that if you notice, there's no grass here, and that's what these sheets are all about. I've had this area sheeted over since September last year. Okay, you don't have to do that, all right? If this was grass, you'd still open it up exactly the same. We're going to put some sheeting over the top that will kill the grass off anyway, but I knew I was going to do this, so I've had this sheeted over for months and months, so that when I actually got here, you can see, I'm going to look closely, you can see the remnants of the grass there, but it's all dead and gone, which has helped the process no end. So that's something you could do now if the weather's not inspiring you to get out there. The ground might be a little bit muddy at the moment, so you can't get into this sort of stage at the moment. What you could do is go and measure out, allocate your area, and sheet it over with some kind of plastic sheeting or cardboard even, or anything that will make the grass die off. You know, after a couple of 2 or 3 weeks, you should lift it up and all the grass underneath will be yellow, which I kind of like doing anyway, because it marks the spot that you're going to dig. It makes it kind of gives you a visual of the size and what your bed's going to look like when you lift the cardboard off. But that's it. So anyway, I'm going to get on and mix this soil in. I'll be back to you in a second. Right then, so as you can see, we've put the first layer of compost on the top of the broken up soil. We need to mix that in a little bit. You'll probably have one of these, garden fork. You do it with that. I've got this special little gadget here, which is called a cultivator, because this is exactly what it does. Cultivates soil. But basically, you just need to mix it in a little bit with the other stuff. Not too much, just a little bit. And then this will be the surprising bit. We're going to cover this up with cardboard. Yep, cardboard. So you need to grab hold of some if you can. If you've got any old Amazon boxes or whatever, it depends what size your bed's going to be. But you need to start collecting up some cardboard. You can usually find it once you put the feelers out. maybe put a message out on Facebook if anybody's got any, if they can leave it in their garage or something like that. But you need to collect up some cardboard. Now you might have noticed that all the tools I've used, I have not used a spade. And the reason why I haven't used a spade is because this is commonly known as the no-dig principle. So yes, we have opened up the soil, as I showed you earlier, but we haven't dug the soil. And there's a whole scientific reason why that's beneficial, which I am very happy to go into. If anybody wants to ask me any questions on that, I'm quite happy to expand on that. But this is what makes this easy. This is what will enable you to get a vegetable patch growing in one season. This is like a weekend's work as long as your bed ain't too big. And so you can have ground that you can grow in almost instantaneously using the no-dig principle. And it's the cardboard that is the secret. So I'm going to cover this up with cardboard now, and I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, so there we are, all covered in cardboard. Look at that neat job I did. Brilliant. Right, so what I'm going to do... Why have you put cardboard all over there, Pete? I can hear you all saying. Why have you done that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because the ground that you're growing in, it was probably previously lawn, it's got a lot of perennial plants in it that have been there long established, and they will come back no matter what. If I just left this ground, it would go back. The dock leaves, the dandelions, it will all come back. So why we put this cardboard down is that puts a like a mulch sheet over the top that prevents any of the old weeds growing. Now we've used cardboard because cardboard is actually organic material. It's paper. It will break down over time, so it just buys us a little bit of time to stop the weeds coming through and lets our plants that we're going to plant in here establish so that they don't compete. But obviously after about 6 months, this cardboard will all be broken down and will add to the organic matter content of the soil in the way of carbon, which is good, isn't it? Because we're all made of carbon. So now what I need to do now is I need to water this down. I need to really soak this cardboard so it just kind of sits happily on top of the soil, and if we leave it dry, it will dry the next layer that we're putting on top out, which we don't want to happen. So I'm going to really soak this now with some water. Poo, lots of it. This is cow manure. It's blended actually a little bit with some mushroom compost. It's been sat here for almost a year now, which if you're going to use manure, which we are, and the reason why I'm using it, because you can see I got loads of it. I got more manure than you can shake a stick at. If anybody wants to research where that saying came from and why, that's something you could do. It's a bit of homework anyway. So yeah, I got the biggest pile of poo you can imagine, but it's really well rotted down, so it surprisingly doesn't smell. It's ready to use. You can't use fresh manure. It's too full of acids and kind of stomach stuff that's just too acidic for the soil, so it needs to be left a long time. This manure was rotted before it got here, and it's been here for another year, so this is easy to use. Domestically, you don't have to use manure. You could layer up with more compost and do it that way, but I'm using the manure because we're growing intensively, commercially almost, and also because I got it and it's free. So there you go. If you want some, if it's only a little bit, bring a bucket and come and get some. But because we've got a lot of beds to do. 95. Right then, a finished article. The last layer's got on, that's another layer of compost. So basically what we've done is built a cake. We opened up the soil a little bit, and then we added a layer of compost to kind of mix in with that soil to stop it recompacting. That's what that was for. And then what did we do? Then we put the cardboard on top, which we put down as a mulch, as a barrier to prevent the weeds and anything we don't want to grow coming back up through for a while, to give the other plants time to establish. And then what did we do? We then put on a layer of manure because we got it. It's good stuff to add to the soil. And then we put another layer of compost on the top. That's finished it. Now, that's your no dig principle. So we've just taken some basic ground and we've turned it into beds ready to grow in. Now I say ready to grow in, but let's be real about this. I'm building soil at the minute and there's a lot more to it than I'm kind of letting on really. This is just a process. You don't need to know about the science, but it's interesting to know about the science and how this is going to turn into functioning soil. What makes it turn into functioning soil? What makes some soils good for growing in and others not for growing in? These are things that I could tell you should you wish to know. You just need to ask me and I'll expand on it. But for now, this is all you need to know to get yourself growing. Now, I'm not expecting amazing results out of this because this is obviously we're building the soil. It's not built yet. It needs to settle down, fuse. It all needs to kind of blend into one another and start working before it becomes really, really good soil, which it will. But it will be good enough to, especially in a polytunnel environment. It's quite a protected environment. It's got everything in there that it needs to grow. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get some results. Maybe just not the results that we would dream of this year, but moving forward, hopefully next year, we'll be definitely cooking with gas. So, right then. So I hope you found that interesting. I'm doing that and repeat ad infinitum at the minute. But what I've showed you is how to build a no-dig bed. And if the apocalypse is coming, you can rest assured that you now know how to very quickly turn some flat lawn areas into a growing space almost overnight without having to dig at all. In fact, don't use a spade. Spades is not good. I hinted at all the way through this that there is some deeper knowing to this, and it's kind of science-based biology, physics, chemistry. It's really, really interesting. I think it's really, really interesting anyway. If you don't find that sort of stuff interesting, avoid me at a party. But yeah, it gives you a new appreciation for a lot of, for organic life, really, and it answers why our planet in the solar system is blue and green and living and everything else isn't. Yeah, it goes that kind of deep, really. So anybody who's interested in learning a little bit more about that, please ask me, and I'm happy to go into it. But I'm also happy just to kind of appreciate that people are they just want to grow something for something to do, even maybe, or have a project over the spring and the summer to get involved in and keep us from going mad in these times. So there we go. Look, I'm gonna crack on. There's about another 8 underneath that sheet that I've got to do. So over and out. Hope you found it interesting. Take care, everybody. Be safe, and see you soon. Ta-da.